Hello friends, what if I tell you AI can give you a perfect answer? It sounds 100% confident and still be completely wrong. Now imagine you use that answer in testing, you write test cases, and everything looks correct, but in reality, it doesn't even exist. So today I will be going to show you how this happens and how smart QA engineers catch it instantly. So there is basically two things here. That is basically deterministic versus probabilistic output. Now let's understand one more powerful concept which will completely change how you use AI. So deterministic versus probabilistic output. So simple meaning is deterministic means same input and same output every time. And probabilistic is same input but different output possible. And AI mostly works as probabilistic. So, if I talk about the simple analogy, imagine a calculator. If you type 2 plus 2 every time result is 4. So this is deterministic. Now imagine asking a human explain login testing. Every time answer may be different, so this is actually probabilistic. AI behaves more like a human and not like a calculator. So why this happens in AI? Now question is why AI gives different answers, because AI works on probability and patterns. So it predicts what is the most likely next word. So a small variation in prompt, context, randomness can actually change the output. So if we talk about the real Q example, so let's take one real Q example. So I'm just gonna take ChatGPT. Okay. Now, if I ask AI generate login test cases for SauceDemo. Now I will try to run this multiple times. So I just gave one prompt. Okay. Now, okay, it is just giving me an output. So basically it is covering everything. Now again I am giving the same thing. So you could see, the response basically, if you just compare, so it basically, the response, that is the output, basically changed a bit. If you see, you see some positive test cases, the happy path. Okay. So now when I gave the second one, okay, now this time log in with valid credentials. So you could see, each time if you give the same prompt again and again, the output will differ, because each time it thinks more like a human and not like a calculator. So it is basically probabilistic output. Now, if we say like real problem for QA engineers, so as a QA engineer, this creates confusion because you expect same output every time, but AI changes answers. So you think AI is inconsistent, but reality is AI is working as designed. So when you need deterministic behavior, now in QA, sometimes we need consistency. For example, automation scripts, expected results, regression testing. So in these cases, same input gives you same output is required. So that is basically deterministic thinking. So how to control AI output? So how do you make AI more consistent? Just use clear and structured prompts. For example, if you give a prompt, generate exactly 5 login test cases. Secondly, you can add constraints. Do not change format. Third one is you can reduce the randomness. So now what happens? Output becomes more stable and close to deterministic behavior. So smart QA understanding is, as a smart QA engineer, just understand this. AI is not a fixed system. It is actually a probabilistic engine. That is basically, you can say, it is a probability engine. So your job is guide it, control it, validate it, not blindly expect the fixed answers. So now correct everything whatever we have learned till now. Tokens basically control the cost, context basically controls the memory, hallucination basically affects the correctness, and probabilistic nature affects the inconsistency. So if you understand all these four, you are basically ahead of 90% Q engineers. So AI is not a calculator, it is just a probability machine. If you treat it like a fixed logic, you will struggle. If you understand its nature, you will master it. So if you really want to check about the tokens, context and hallucinations, you can check my previous videos. So I hope you understood today's logic in this today's video and you really enjoyed this session. So if you really like this session, do like, share and subscribe my channel and stay tuned for more upcoming sessions. Thank you everyone.